Hi guys, I know that it's been a long time no see. I've been really busy. I'm sorry if I look a little crazy. I've been volunteering for the past 2 days in the Keys. It was a really awesome experience because we got to serve a lot of people that were affected by Hurricane Irma and people that are just low income in general. So that was a lot of fun. Just came back. I'm exhausted. We saw over 60 patients and I don't want to let you guys go another week without the personal statement video. I've been waiting to do this for you guys for so long, but I've been working, I've been saving money, I've been just taking time to fill out all the stuff that I have to get turned in on time for school because the deadline is approaching. But without further ado, let's talk about the personal statement. So, your personal statement. First, let's work on the most important part, knowing the guidelines. So, the way that the personal statement works is that you submit it. It's basically like a little blurb essay about yourself. And the most important part is that it has a 4,500 character limit. What does a character limit mean? It means that it counts punctuation, it counts spaces, it counts all of your letters, anything you can think of, it counts it. That's 4,500 characters. And if you've ever done an essay for school, at some point you've probably done it with characters. And if you want to know how to check that on Word, there's a little space at the bottom. You can kind of see how many characters you have going on, or you can just click and select and you should be able to see it. My recommendation is that you do it on Word or whatever it is that you use to write documents, and do not just keep resaving on the same one. Write your first draft. Save it as first draft. Once you've saved that as first draft, then you can go ahead and as you make major changes, name it draft 2, draft 3, after each single person has reviewed it. Draft 4, draft 5. Why do I say this? Because you can actually go ahead and you can edit the personal statement as much as you want, but sometimes there will be elements from previous drafts that you kind of remember and you say, oh my god, I remember that and that would actually go well here. Or you go back and you reread some of the old drafts to find inspiration for the new draft and you realize that you could use some of those sentences. And it's also inspiration to see how far you've come along and that it was a good idea to take out those parts because look at those new parts. So yeah, save different drafts. Very important. Next, you want to actually go ahead and write a personal statement that doesn't have any BS. Please, because I want you to put yourself in the shoes of anybody who's typically reading those essays. They see hundreds of those essays coming into their school. And what do you need to do? You need to stand out. What do these people know and can spot from a mile away? BS. So you definitely need to understand that you need to be genuine, and that sounds kind of, common sense, but a lot of people like to write things that they think admissions committee members want to hear. It's your story. If you're going to a school, you hope that they want to read your story or the reason why you became a dentist. If they don't like it, that's not the school for you. Please do not write an essay that has nothing to do with what you actually like about dentistry. Obviously, don't be like, oh my god, I'm in dentistry because I want to make a ton of money. Don't say that. But be honest about why you want to be a dentist and be honest about what led you to it. It doesn't have to be like you witnessed this amazing Operation Smile event when you were 2 years old and you just remembered it so you wanted to be a dentist. No, it just use common sense. One of the first things I would say is to start writing early. Do start writing early. And it doesn't matter if you're like a great writer. I think I am a decent writer. And I found it difficult to get out there, get out of my head and write about myself without sounding conceited, while still selling myself appropriately, selling myself enough, while making sense, being meaningful. All of those things take time. Refining your words, using a thesaurus, trying also not to sound overly out of your vocabulary, right? That's also really important because If you don't use those words in your general day-to-day life, it's gonna show. And maybe while you're interviewing, it will show. So please, I mean, I've been I've been on a mock interview at a school where a girl used a specific word and they asked her to spell it. So please don't do it. Okay? If you're an avid reader and your vocabulary is crazy, the thesaurus is key and you can use everything. If not, just be sensible about the words that you're replacing old words with. It's really, really important. Why do you want to start early? Because you want to have a chance to kind of see where you're going. Maybe start a little earlier so you can see your growth. I'm not trying to say that it can't be done. Of course it can be done. You can write something in a day. We all know, we've been there, we've written papers in in a matter of hours. But this is like the rest of your life, right? You want to go ahead and write the best possible essay that will get you into dental school. Next, please have the ability to put your ego aside. If you're a pre-dental student, you probably have some kind of ego somewhere deep down. We're all a little bit type A personality, and that's one of the things that makes us special, but at the same time, it's a downfall. Do not be afraid to let people read your work. And it's going to slash your heart a little bit sometimes, but it's going to be so worth it in the end. I remember I was terrified. I was terrified of showing anyone my essay. Why? Because my essays had good things and bad things in them about my life. And I really was kind of apprehensive about letting other people see a vulnerable side of me. I'm usually a person that finds solution, gets stuff done, just figures life out pretty much. But I don't like being vulnerable. I don't like people seeing certain sides of me that are just specifically for my family, my friends. So it was just an interesting journey for me to be able to do that. So I suggest that put your ego aside and you go ahead and let somebody read it. Why? Because they're going to give it to you the way that they see it, with their eyes and their opinions and their attitude and their character. You know yourself. You like what you have to say. You say things to yourself. You have an ability to make yourself believe whatever it is that you want yourself to believe. You need someone that's going to stay objective. One of the things that you can do is to reach out to your parents' professional network and your professional network and see if there's anyone willing to review your personal statement. But if you're like me and your parents don't have a professional network and your parents are not professionals themselves, then you have to get a little bit creative. But these ideas can also be used for anyone else, okay? So you can go ahead and try these totally free ways to get your personal statement reviewed, okay? So number one would be to have your personal statement reviewed by your school's writing center. Hear me out on this one, okay? Your school's writing center has probably been there the whole time you were in school and you probably never used it. And if you did, it was possibly because they forced you to and you had an assignment, or maybe you're just like amazing and you used it anyway. But your school's writing center is there. It exists. Some of the schools even have the service online, so you don't even have to go out of your way that much. And what's nice about them, they don't know a lot about the process of getting into dental school or professional school in general, but that's something that you want. You want that because what they're going to focus on is the grammar, they're going to focus on the punctuation, and they're going to focus on the flow of your essay. That's what they're going to focus on, right? They're not going to focus on things that they can't fix. They can't fix why you wanted to be a dentist and the reason you wrote down. They can't fix why you chose to mention that this specific procedure is something that, changed your life. They can't change any of that, but they can change your flow, what it sounds like. Does this story sound like a beginning to end? Because that's what it should sound like. It should sound like a flowing story, right? So that's where you can start. You can start right there. Then you can go to the people who wrote your recommendation letter. If it's a good recommendation letter, you have a relationship with this person. And this person should know you. This person should have had access to your personality. So when they read this, they're going to be focusing not as much on the grammar because it's probably a science professor or something like that. They're going to be focusing on what you actually wrote. They can actually tell you, hey, I see your personality in here, but maybe we can talk about this. Or, you don't remember when you did this and I thought that that was really cool? Or, can you please tell me why you didn't mention this part about your personality? Or, I don't see your bubbly self in here. This needs to be more upbeat. Or, I think this is too funny. Maybe tone it down a little bit. It needs to be a little bit serious. I know that you're like a goofy kid, but you know what I mean. So that's where letters of recommendation also become useful. And I know I mentioned that sometimes it's nice to turn in your personal statement with your letter of recommendation in my previous videos, how to get a strong recommendation letter. But, you know, also mention it to them. Don't just turn in the personal statement to them and hope that they'll change it. Like, mention to them that maybe if they want to, they can feel free to add some comments, okay? One of the last ways that I recommend getting your personal statement reviewed is by something a little bit more out of the box. There's such a thing as a pre-dental day. And if you've never heard of a pre-dental day, is when a school opens its doors to hopeful young pre-dentals and they get to see the flow of their school and what's so great about their school and make you really want to go there, right? So I went to a pre-dental day at one of the schools where they actually had us bring in a USB as part of the day, where while we were doing the whole tour and learning about the school, they were going to have students edit our personal statements, and then at the end of the day, we would get back the USB with comments. That's awesome. That was awesome. That's really what jump-started my personal statement. And after that, I just felt so much better about handing it off to more important people. Not saying that they weren't important, but the people who reviewed our essays were dental students, so it felt a little easier to start with them. And then it just became easier to give it to people with more authority, like professors, letters of recommendation, dentists. So we started there, and not every pre-dental day is going to have that, but you know what a pre-dental day does have? Really eager dental students that understand that they were once in your shoes. And I don't know if you guys have ever been on one, but if you haven't, a lot of what happens on that day towards the end is that the students are so excited and they'll be like, please email me any questions that you may have. I'd be more than happy to help you. And you know how many people actually end up emailing them? Not that many. So do it. Email them and say, hey, I know you're so busy. Not to put this on a rush level, but can you please review my personal statement and see what you think about it? Just like that. And I promise you, one of them will do it. And they'll do it because they remember what it's like to be in your shoes. So it's necessary and it's an interesting process. And if you want to start there, and that's why I say start early. Because you can start it off like that and you give them enough time. I mean, they're busy dental students. You give them enough time to do it. After that, you've already gotten one good, clear look. And then you can move on to people that, you know, maybe you were a little bit more scared to get reviews from. Then you'll have the courage. And obviously, once you get the reviews back, you make your own changes. You can accept or deny the changes that were made on that essay. Remember, save different drafts. And as you go, think about why they wrote what they wrote. What can you expect from this? Look back at your old memories. That's why I recommend, you know, keeping good tabs of your volunteering, of your experiences, so that when these moments come, you're ready, you're good to go. So for the personal statement, I really recommend that you guys do start early, put your ego away, get it reviewed, and make sure you understand that you need to be genuine. And I really recommend that. Start your essay with a bang. Your first sentence lets them know, hey, I mean business, I'm not going to be boring, because they read so many of those letters. Now, one of the last things that I'm going to recommend is that you please do not write your entire resume in your personal statement. Why? Because you're already writing your resume elsewhere in your application. You do not need to write it again because there's no point. You're just going to bore them. Now, I do say that you should reiterate one or two of the most important experiences that show either how or why you wanted to become a dentist, or that made you or gave you the capabilities that you need in order to become a successful dentist, right? And you don't have to say, these capabilities exactly make me a successful dentist. No, you can just, in a way kind of say, and it gave me these qualities, blah, 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 blah. And they know what the qualities are that it takes to become a successful dentist in their school. So remember, it's all subjective, and it depends on where you're applying and what your goals are. So make sure that your personal statement tells an overall story that matches with how you chose to use your volunteering time, how you chose to live your college years. It should all come about in full circle. So that's why the personal statement is important. Make sure you have a nice first line, because I know I'm going to want to read your essay if I feel like, hey, this person is making an effort. And not all of us are funny, and not all of us are these clever writers. So I'm not talking about like, oh my God, spend 1,000 hours on that first sentence, but do spend some time on it. Spend some time on it, because I know it definitely made me crazy, but it was so worth it in the end. You guys are so close. If you're already writing your personal statement, you're so close. This is going to be awesome, and it's going to be an awesome experience, and I hope that you guys are totally excited. Also, for the personal statement, make sure, you have it on Word. When you put it into your application, make sure when you get to the end of the application, you reread the personal statement just to make sure it didn't cut off anything when you're placing it into the document. Really, really important. I want to mention something for anybody that has had anything that, has caused issues with their grades, and now you have this amazing upward trend. There is a space on the application for you guys to write that stuff out, but if you have that kind of situation where you were sick or a family member passed away or anything like that, I would suggest something that important, kind of reiterating that in the personal statement, small, somewhere. Don't let it take a lot of space, but somewhere. Because in one of the applications when I was doing the secondary, they asked me to recopy my statement in or something like that. You'll never know if maybe your essay gets passed around at a space where people haven't had a chance to look at your stats or other parts of your application, especially if it's a holistic process and maybe they want to be objective and just have different parts to score you in and see what people feel about you. So it would be good if your personal statement can stand alone. Don't reiterate 1,000 things already on your application, but if it's something that important, I would say that would be a good portion of the essay, not that big, to use to just reiterate that, and make sure you have a positive ending. Have a positive ending. If you haven't fixed anything, don't write about it. There's no point. Make sure you have a positive ending. Make sure you have a positive attitude. Anything positive on that essay needs to shine. Anything negative needs to have a turnaround point, and it needs to be awesome. Okay? So I hope that this was somewhat helpful. I'm not sure if I'm missing a lot of questions about this. You guys can go ahead and write them in the comments, and I'll be more than happy to answer any personal statement question. And now it's the moment of truth. I had to go and get up this box, and what's in this box are the names of people who wanted to be considered for the personal statement review. So you guys can already jumpstart your first review. So I have the names in here. I rolled them up into a little ball. I'm gonna shake them, shake, 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 and I'm gonna pick one. Okay. Just so you see, they're all in there. I'm gonna shake it again, just for good measure. Okay. And I'm gonna reach in. And the winner of the personal statement review is Heather. So Heather, please email me your personal statement at dentaljosie@gmail.com. That is dentaljosie@gmail.com. And what I think I'll do is in a couple of weeks, I'll have another drawing, and then I'll review another personal statement. So stay tuned for that. But Heather, please, I would love to help you. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you found this useful. If you did, like, share, and subscribe. I'll be posting more often again. I just had to start off the new year and like do things, you know, adult things. But yeah, I love you guys. Thank you so much for not abandoning me this whole time. But yeah, I am so excited. We're already in almost February. My birthday is next week. And I should be going up to Mystery City number 3 again in March to find a new place. So stay tuned for that, guys. Thank you so much. And I will see you guys next time.